Now it's time to review our rules for using iPads in the classroom. You have heard these rules before. Your teachers went over them with you at the beginning of the school year. This lesson is simply a review of the things that you already know, just a reminder of what you should do when using your iPads in class. The first rule that your teacher introduced you to when he or she introduced you to your classroom iPads was, I will always use two hands when carrying my iPad. This sounds like a pretty simple rule, but the fact is, any iPads that have gotten broken because students were not carrying them properly. Oftentimes, iPads that have been broken because students have hit them on the corner of their desks or dropped them on the floor. Now, the cases that your iPads are in are pretty sturdy, but it's very important that you carry your iPad the right way so that it doesn't get damaged. As the year goes on, we tend to see more and more damage done to our iPads. It's your responsibility as an iPad user to make sure the iPad that you're responsible for does not get damaged. So, always carry your iPad with two hands. A second very important rule that your teachers have talked to you about when using iPads in your classroom is, I will respect others and put my iPad down when someone is talking. This may be the most important rule that you have for using an iPad in an elementary classroom. Whether it's your teacher who is trying to share something with you, a lesson or instructing, or if it's one of your classmates who's sharing something or asking a question, it is important that you show that person respect by putting your iPad down when they are talking. A good rule to follow is to turn your iPads over onto their tummies or face down so that you're not tempted to see what is going on the screen. A little bit of respect goes a long way when working with a classroom team. This is one way that you can show respect to the people in your classroom, both your classmates and your teacher. So always show respect and put your iPad down when other people are talking. Another rule that your teachers have shared with you is, I will only use the apps and programs my teacher has instructed me to use. This is a very important rule. As we've talked about, iPads can make learning a lot of fun in the classroom. The thing is, your teachers work very hard to create lessons and activities to help you learn. They pick the apps and programs that you need to get the most out of using your iPads in your classroom. Now, I know when you're at centers or during your daily 5 time, it's very tempting to go on and do some other things, especially if your teacher is busy working with a small group of students or even with a student one-on-one. It's a matter of trust, honestly. You have got to do what you're asked to do and use only the apps and programs that your teacher asks you to in order to get the most out of your time in class. That's one of your responsibilities as a student, and that's how you will learn the most, using your iPad. Sometimes your teachers ask you to do work on your iPad. Sometimes your teachers ask you to do work with pencil and paper. It is very important that you follow this next rule, no matter how you're completing your work for your teacher. I will do my best work whether I'm working on my iPad or on paper. This is important. Some children have a hard time doing their very best work on an iPad, while others have a hard time being neat and doing their very best work on paper. As a student in our elementary school, you're asked to do both. It's very important that no matter how you're completing your work, you're doing your very best so that everything you turn in shows your teacher how much you know. This next rule may also seem a little funny to some of you, but honestly, it's a very important rule to follow. I will make sure I always know where the iPad is when I am responsible for it. Now, not all of you get to take your iPads home. Some of you only use your iPads in class. But did you know sometimes elementary students lay their iPads down and forget where they put them? It's very important that you know where your iPad is all the time. If you're using your iPad away from your desk, maybe at a center table or on the floor, it's important that you know where it is and that it's safe. Imagine if you'd accidentally leave your iPad laying on the floor. Someone could step on it and it would get damaged. It's very important that you know where your iPad is at all times and that it's safe. As you can see, there are many rules that a student in an iPad classroom needs to follow. It is important that you follow all of these rules so you can make the most of your time in class and using your iPad. The final rule that you need to remember is, I will be responsible and make smart learning choices while using my iPad. That is how you make the most out of learning in an iPad classroom.